let's see what we have here. So we've been tracking two potential counts off the March low, and we still do not have a resolution as to whether we're in the blue or the green count. Both of those, we'll walk through each of those. The green is a leading diagonal off the March low that completed at the early June highs at the 32.34 level, the 1.764 extension off the low. And that counts as follows. We had a wave 1, a wave 2, wave 3 reaching between the 1.0 and 1.236, a wave 4 flat, and then a fifth wave up to the 1.764. Since then, we have not been able to gain significant traction on turning down in a bigger wave 2 here. We had the initial pullback, which we would count as an A wave in the green count, and that was into the mid-June low. And off of that low, we have still a clear 3 waves up. So even though we've exceeded the June highs here, we can call this potentially still a B wave in this count. Just change the degree here. We can call this a B wave, and with price currently in C of B. Possible that we topped last week, but that possibility is looking less and less likely as the we did have 5 down. The bears do not seem to be capitalizing on the current micro setup they have, but we'll come to that when we look at the smaller time frame chart. Alternatively, we have the blue count, which is certainly favored at this point so long as price continues to remain above supports, and that's the same 1-2. Again, this initial move up here is unclear as to whether or not this was a 5-wave move or a 3-wave move. A leading diagonal should be all 5-wave move where all of the subwaves break down in 3 waves, whereas the standard impulse would be a 5-wave move, where waves 1, 3, and 5 would all be 5 waves themselves, and 2 and 4 would be 3 waves. So in this case, in the blue count, we have a wave 1, a wave 2, and it was just wave 3 topping at the early June high. The break into the mid-June low was a wave 4, and now we're working on finishing wave 3 of parentheses 5 of 1. And so far still, it's the same, just 3 up off the low, off of the June low. And it looks like this is probably taking shape here as an ending diagonal. We have wave 1, wave 2, and we're still needing to complete wave 3. And then this can still be a B wave here upon, even if we do get a higher high upwards of 3,300 this week. This could complete C of B, and the determination between blue and green in that point would be whether blue is able to hold support for a 4th wave and get one more high. With that, let's take a look at the micro count here. And then we'll look at the futures as well. So here's what we're tracking. We have potentially a high in place here already at the July 23rd high, and we have a clear 5 waves down off of that. The question is that a wave 4, where this was the C wave of 4, where wave 3 topped here? We got an ABC pullback for A B wave, and then a C wave down to support to complete. And then in the blue count off of that, we have 3-wave move up, which count as our A wave. We have a very steep decline, which we'll have to call a B wave in the blue count. And now we have a potential 5-wave move off of that low. So in that case, we're looking for a potential 5 up here, a bigger 5 up to complete the C wave. And the 1-2 is potentially already in place. We'll take a look at that on the futures chart. But here's what we're looking at here between these two counts. So the bears had a very excellent opportunity here, as we have potentially had a 1-2, 1-2 setup. That setup is still alive so long as price does not break back above the 32.65 high here, but this is getting to be a two very deep retraces here. So while the green setup is still live, which is going to take price much lower, initially would take price down. We should see a 5-wave move develop into the July lows into this region, and then perhaps get some big extensions here. So far, this only points to maybe the 30-50 region if this were to break down on the 1-2-1-2 setup here. Avi's expecting some much bigger extensions though if this occurs, where perhaps in the 3 of 3 or the 5 of 3 we'd see some very large extensions. But at this point, that's very speculative. What we need to see in order to favor that is for price to break down below today's low here. Now that we have this potential 5 up in the blue count, breaking below this level here and then following through below 31.85 should indicate that we're in the heart of wave 3 of this. Wave Roman numeral 3 of this 3, and should take us down much lower. Ideally at least into the 29.35 region, but potentially deeper than that, maybe even the 28.35 region. But yeah, again, at this point, we're going to need to see a break below today's low here. And if we're able to break below today's low and then follow through below 31.85 or below this wave 4, that's going to give us a very indication that we should be in the heart of the third wave down in the green count at that point. Alternatively, the blue count here, we have a 1-2 setup forming here, or perhaps 2 is already in. We'll take a look at the futures in a second. And that would point us up to the 33.20 to 33.40 region. And then that would complete just this wave 3 here. That would be this wave 3. And then we would need another wave 4 pullback and then a wave 5. Alternatively, even if we do get this move up to 33.20 to 33.40, that could top us in wave C of B, and then we'd have to restart the green count with another 5-wave move. But obviously things aren't looking too great for the bears here as price continues not to follow through on these bearish counts. But this 1-2-1-2, as I pointed out here, 1-2 and 1-2 is still alive until we break over this. Let's take a look at the futures chart. Let's see what's there. We have this here. Great. Okay, so I have this. Where do I have this? Okay, we have this on here. I can count 5 up off of today's low. It's not a pretty 5 up, but would count as something of a non-overlapping diagonal here. I can zoom in here very low at a very low resolution, or very high resolution, sorry, very granular. And you can see we started with a 3-wave move here and then got this pullback. Let's do this on the left here. Okay, so I could potentially count this as a 1, 2, probably count this as a 3, 4, and then 5. So it's possible that we've completed 5 up here and are now even in wave 3. Alternatively, just looking at the green count here, just want to show you that the 1-2-1-2 is still alive until we break above 32.57. What level is that? 32.57 even. So if we print above 32.57, this immediate 1-2-1-2 setup in the green is dead. And as it is, given the depth of this retrace, the blue count's definitely favored here. But green count is still technically alive. Alternatively, we could have, this could just be completing 5 up here off the sorry. This could just be completing 5 up off the low now. It's not the clearest of counts. Probably be a little bit more inclined to count it that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Wave 5 completing here. And this will be wave 1, and then should get a wave 2 pullback into tomorrow. And maybe that sets, maybe we get it overnight and get a gap up, or maybe tomorrow's a very slow day and we just get a shallow pullback in wave 2 and then gap up into next week. And but let's see here. The potential that we've already bottomed in wave 2 here. Just want to show what that would look like. So the potential that we already have a 1-2 in place. If we get above the 0.764 extension here, again, because I could count this as a potentially to right here as wave 1, and this is a very shallow wave 2. I don't favor that, but it is possible to count it that way. In that case, so we'd be looking at these blue extensions here above 32.67, and we shouldn't see a break back below 32.59. And if that 1-2 is already in place, yeah, we should be heading up to 33.26 region. Alternatively, probably counts a little bit better here to be completing the wave 1 up now. And in that case, let's see what this looks like here. Yeah, ideally we would complete somewhere up in this region here, and say we get a wave 2 pullback into tomorrow. Could be overnight too. Keep that in mind. Let's say we complete right at the former highs there. Yeah, that should give us a pullback into perhaps, I like this region here, the 50%, and that around 33.26. But this is starting to look somewhat third wave-ish here. Again, so if we break above 32.67, chances are that we're heading much higher immediately. But in this case here, alternatively, the bigger 1-2, if we're topping here in a wave 1, see in that case 33.50. Yeah, it probably is a cleaner count actually for the larger degree here that we already have the 1-2 in place. It's a very shallow wave 2 pullback, but the bulls are firmly in control here. The bears are hanging on by a thread, and this potential 5 down invalidates here, but the bigger 1-2 setup does not technically invalidate until we see a break above 32.85. But I'd say at this point the blue count is strongly favored here at the micro degree, and it looks like we have a 1-2 already in place and should be heading more directly up to the 32.97 to 33.09 region. In yeah, if we see any significant break here above 32.67, we shouldn't see price really get back through this 32.60 region on any sustained basis here. So at this point, actually we've invalidated now that 1-2 as we've broken above 32.57 here. And so yeah, really just favors that we've taught our, sorry, that we're in the blue count here and breaking out in the heart of a third. 1 second here. about that. And let's see here. Yeah, so that covers it for today. I mean, really, it's a question at this point. It looks like we're in the heart of a third, and we should see. In that case, this is probably something like this. The subwaves aren't super clear here. I mean, if this is the 1-2, ideally you want to see the 1 of 3 reach the 0.382 retrace, or sorry, the 0.382 extension, which we did not do. It was pretty shallow there. Possible leading diagonal here, wave 1, 2, and now in the heart of a third. And in that case, we should reach at least 3280 here. Again, but to confirm that we are in the heart of a third, we want to see a sustained break above 3267.5, at which point we're not going to want to see any sustained break below 3260.5. We could get a little bit of a spike in reverse. Again, this wouldn't invalidate here until 3240 level, but this looks pretty bullish at this point for just a direct move higher here. And let's see, what questions do we have? See, Brian asks, hi Jason, there was some debate in the room today about the count up off of today's low. If you wouldn't mind going through that in detail for us beginners, I would appreciate that. Yeah, I can go through that again here. So the simplest way to count this is, I guess I could count this as a standard impulse here, but let's see what this would look like from a, I mean, there's definitely a 5 up. The problem is it's that it's very much not standard extensions for this. I could possibly count it in one of two ways. I could count it as a non-overlapping diagonal here, where I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's a possible count. I could also potentially count this as an impulse. It's really just that the proportions off this low are very bad. There's definitely 5 waves, there's no question about that, but the proportions are just not right. First off, we start with this 3-wave move, so we could count it as a diagonal like so, like I just showed, or even this could be the third here, the top of 3, and then this is 4. Probably counts better this way, I would say. And also could count it this way, where we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that's of wave 3. So this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is one of these examples that we see sometimes where the 1, 2 of 3 is bigger than the initial 1, 2. So I could possibly count it this way, where I have a 1, 2, 1, 2. This is my 3 of 3, 4 of 3. Sorry, this is my 3 of 3, 4 of 3, and 5 of 3. And then this tops wave 5 of 3, small wave 4, and then a wave 5 to complete 5 up. So there's a lot of different ways to count it. I probably think what makes most sense, because these proportions are really off even inside of this wave 3, we want to see some standard proportions here, and these just don't count very nicely. Yeah, in this case our wave 3 only reaches the 1.236, but then we have a very shallow wave 4, and that's a reasonable extension for wave 5. It's just it's not really nice proportions. I think it's probably easier just to count this as the non-overlapping leading diagonal. That would count like this. So we'd have, from a fib standpoint, that's our wave 1 and our wave 2. Our wave 3 touched the 1.236 extension. That's perfect for a third in a diagonal. and then we just got a really shallow fourth wave, and gave us somewhat of an extended fifth wave. And then as well, just very shallow wave two pullback. We typically, not atypical to see a bigger pullback off of a diagonal, but this market's been very relentless on the bullish side. Yeah, every time the bears have a setup, the bulls come. The bullish support gets tested, but the bears have not been able to break any large support here, and as such, the bullish counts sort of form a short squeeze setup, and that's what this one looks like here. As you can see here, now we're getting into this 0.764 extension here, so it really favors at this point that that price is in the heart of a third off of today's low. Yeah, and this is just relentless to the upside here. Yeah, at this point here, yeah, we're above this level, so we don't want to see any sustained break back below 3260 here. I could potentially give, a brief spike, maybe back down. If we zoom all the way in here, let's see here, we're not going to really want to see anything below this level here in this period that we have this candle. We zoomed in into like a, almost like a tick chart here. They don't have tick charts on TradingView, but they have, real short time frames. We really don't want to see a break back below this level here. What's that? 32.57. At this point, we should, see price head more or less directly up to the 32. We want to see at least the 32.79 region struck, but possible we see extensions. Possible that our third wave, our 3 of 3, comes all the way up to 32.90 here, and our target for wave 5 of 3 is going to be in this region, the 1.382 to 1.618. Those are standard extensions for that level, and then our wave 4 should come back and test the 0.764 to 1.0 region, really depending on how extended this wave 3 gets. And from there, we'd want to see our wave 5 come up and reach the 33.27 level. And just as a reminder for what we're looking at in the SPX, that's perfectly in confluence here with our levels on that chart, as we're looking for this region here, 33.20 to 33.40, and the E-mini S&P is trading at about a about a $7 discount right now, so this would roughly be 33.15 to 33.33. And so going back to the E-mini S&P, what are we looking for there? Yeah, this level works reasonably well here for the fifth, 33.16 to 33.27. Yeah, that's right in our target zone there, so that seems to be what's playing out here. Okay, the drop, Super Horses, the drop this morning's looked more like a impulsive 5 wave. Indeed it did. This is why context is so important in Elliott Wave, and one of the things we needed to see was we needed to break the wave 4 low here. That would invalidate this A-B setup of 4, and I agree. I think this looks much better as a 5 wave move down here, but and it would count like so. That's how I was counting it off the highs here. We could have a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I don't know why that just disappeared. I would want to count it that way as well, but it doesn't count super cleanly as a 3 wave move. Counts better as 5, but I guess I could count it as if this is a B wave here. From an Elliott Wave rules standpoint, I'd probably call this my A, this my B, and this my C. and that would be in blue. So I had an A wave down, I had a B wave flat, and then a C wave down to complete, probably an ending diagonal C there. Oh, this is interesting here. Price is stopping right at the 32.67 level and is turning down. So this is maximum ambiguity here, but if we break below this 360, it's possible then that this is just an extension in this wave one, but that's really not going to play nicely in terms of the bigger degree count here. So at this point, we really prefer that this is the 1-2 setup here. If we are in the green count, we could possibly call it like this, but that's very unfavorable at this point. But technically, until we break above this level here, the green count is still alive, where this could have been a 1. This is a very protracted A, B, C setup of 2. And, we're above the 0.764 retrace at this point. I don't favor that, but, ideally at this point, we just see price break directly above 67.5 and get us up to 79. Then we're going to want to see this region, the 60 region, hold the support. A minor little break is okay, but certainly, nothing below 32.55 here. And then we want to see the rest of this pattern play out in 3, 4, 5, a wave 3, and then a wave 4, and then a wave 5 up to complete. But as to the question here, is this 5 down? Yeah, I think this counts much nicer as 5 down here, and context is important. So even though we have 5 down, I personally was trying to short this today, and I've definitely stopped out now above this high here, and so definitely taking a loss on that trade there. And the context here is that we're above support. And so, 5 ups are certainly not invaluable, inviolable by any means. And, we have to give bullish counts the favor and the benefit of the doubt so long as we remain above support. And even though we came very deep this morning to test that, we did not break the 31.85 region. So, okay, Tom asks, amazing how many possible counts are posted and changed. No, I'm not going to answer that question. Let's see. Sam asks, just hit 32.58 in September. Yeah, we've broken out here above this potential count, so that potential 1-2-1-2 setup is inviolated. No, John, I'm not going to look at any counts in the Dixie or the dollar index futures. This video is just for the S&P. Sam, no, I'm not going to look at anything on the Russell here. There's, if Avi posts about it in his nightly setup, in his nightly analysis, then I'll cover it. But generally, we want to keep these videos focused on the cash S&P and the E-mini S&P futures charts here. So that does appear to be all the questions at this point. Again, given the move up here on, I think Amazon and Google and Apple and Facebook were all reporting here, so the response to the earnings must have been very good. And at this point, we do want to see price just head up directly higher here to 32.79 to 32.90 region, and then come back. You know what I'm actually going to do here at this point? This is a pivot region here now. I don't know if Avi's put this on his chart yet because I couldn't see, but yeah. So at this point, we don't want to see any sustained break below 32.60 here, and we should be headed upwards to finish this 3. And resistance is 32.79 to 32.90. That's for just wave 3 of parentheses 3. Should get a wave 4 pullback into this support or pivot region here, and then get a fifth of the 32.97 to 33.09 region. And then we'll see another pullback to 32.67 to 32.79, and then finally should get a fifth wave up to 33.16 to 33.27. So that appears to be how the action is shaping up here. And best of luck to you in your trading for the rest of the week. Thank you.